Do you find yourself not wanting to tackle that honey-do list at home or the dreaded home and business repairs and improvements? Let Jones Empire LLC, which is a locally owned and operated business from Charleston to Huntington, West Virginia. Jones Empire LLC is licensed and insured, servicing commercial and residential properties throughout the state of West Virginia. Jones Empire LLC offers junk removal, property cleaning, interior and exterior cleaning, paver, patios, small remodels, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree cutting, tree removal, demolition, tree thinning, stump removal, landscaping, painting and staining, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, and even small remodels. Jones Empire LLC also offers dump trailer services for all your hauling needs. Jones Empire LLC offers free estimates. Schedule your service today. Call or text 304-541-8934. Again, call Jones Empire LLC 304-541-8934. They also offer 24/7 emergency services. Call them today. Man, I tell you, I'm pumped for this evening. I mean, bucks are hitting the ground everywhere, despite the mass yield that we've had this year in West Virginia. But I'm telling you what, archery season is in full swing, and we got a very special guest for you this evening. So I wonder how rifle season is going to play out. You know, I'm a big rifle hunter. You know, I archery hunt, but during this time of the year, I just don't have the time anymore like I did when I was younger. So rifle season, you're off during Thanksgiving. You know, your family's coming in, different things like that. You're always off work, so you have a lot more time during that time to hunt, and that's usually when I get in the woods the most. But
yeah, me too.
Anyways, I got production manager Dave Young here on the board. And we got co-host Dan Hall on the phone.
What's up, guys?
Dan, where are you coming from this evening?
I'm still in Kentucky.
Oh, well, you're in Kentucky. Okay, good.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, talking about deer moving right now, I just about creamed one. I almost got on the board today.
Did you? Oh, F-150?
Just about 15 minutes ago.
Or the F-250? The F-250 about to take one out for you?
Yeah, luckily he's got good brakes on it, you know, and I was paying attention and seen her coming across the road, and she just meandered right through there. I'm like, hey, come on.
Yeah.
And then she just tucked her butt right when I was getting close to her, so
I hear
she got
you.
out of the way.
Well, like I said, I'm pretty excited for this evening. You know, we've gotten hooked up with Jason Webb there and his son Jackson Webb at HuntNex, and they introduced us to Mr. Dennis Lewis, which we have on this evening. And, you know, we're happy to have him on this evening and honored to be able to talk to him about the archery company. So without further ado, welcome with me, Dennis Lewis, the owner and founder of Obsession Archery.
Yeah, guys, great to be on here. So, you know, y'all were talking about guns, man. I hadn't hunted with a gun since the late 80s. I went archery only.
I bet not.
Yeah. I mean, I've been archery only for a long time. I just refused to pick up a gun to hunt white-tailed deer with, wild hogs, even turkeys, no blind. I'm strictly a bow hunter.
Man, that's awesome.
So I've been all about archery. I've been all about archery from God since, you know, bows were, I mean, back in the 80s, you know, Martin Archery and, you know, you had them and High Country were burning it up back in that day.
Yeah.
Those was two top brands, actually.
They sure was,
I mean, and of course, that's back in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you've seen PSE come on the scene, and then Matthews, and then Bowtech, and, you know, so it's been a, you know, I love bow hunting. There's no more exciting than shooting anything with a bow. I mean, I own a lot of guns, don't get me wrong. They've got a lot of dust on them. I mean, I do some thermal hunting with them.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got, you know, shotgun for quail and southern quail down in Georgia and, you know, and dove, things like that. But bow hunting, that's just an adrenaline rush to shoot a big old buck or even a turkey without a blind, call him up at 10, 12 yards and bust him on video, self-film him with a bow. That's the ultimate rush to me, with no blind, to be able to get a mature gobbler in. So I hunt bow only. I mean, I'm just, not only, like you guys said, I was founder of Obsession, but I've been a diehard bow hunter. So a lot of these guys that may be involved in archery-owned companies, some of them don't really hunt with a bow, but part of the time it's kind of funny. I see some of the competition out there, and I see them with a bow, and next thing I know, I see them with a gun, and I'm like, man, you're in deep in a bow company, and you're toting a gun? Come on now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're talking about the adrenaline rush. I don't know. It's pretty big adrenaline rush when you about hit one with the truck. I can promise you that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah. That's funny. So there, before we started, we were talking about there's several different phases of Obsession Archery in the company. So we were talking about different bow companies, Martin Archery, and then you all had Struthers there that you purchased back in the early 2000s. Tell us a little bit about those changes and switches in companies.
Well, when Obsession started, let me tell you what started Obsession so people that's listening understand. I was in the drug business for a lot of years, drugstore. Let me clarify.
I was like,
pharmacy business for many years.
He just outed himself.
And so anyway, I decided I'd got involved with a guy that was doing a little bit of TV stuff,
Yes.
And we owned a scent company back then. We bought out in the 90s called Scrape Juice.
Okay.
And anyway, I was shooting competition archery back then in the 80s and 90s. Back when the finger tab days, I was winning some state championships and triple crowns with a finger tab, and then I went to a release, and so I shot competitive archery with Martin Archery. I actually was a paid shooter back in the day in the 80s and 90s with those guys.
Okay.
So, and that's back when that company was doing really well. But, fast forward, I got involved doing a little bit of TV, and then me and my wife started a show called Southern Woods and Water on the Pursuit Channel. And we did that for years. And so I left the drugstore industry in a dream to be in the hunting industry. And I will tell anybody that's listening to this, failure's not an option if you want to do something and make a living at it.
That's true.
I mean, you just have to stay with it. You're going to have a lot of ups, and you're going to have a lot of downs, and you're going to have some moments that will be like my dad told me. He told me when I left the drugstore business, because I was making a really good salary, said, son, you're going to go broke. He says, you need to stay right there with that job. But, I decided that was my dream. I wanted to do something I really liked to do. So the TV thing and the bow hunting went together, and the deer lure company, Scrape Juice, it all worked hand in hand, the bow hunting. So about what got me into manufacturing bows was along around 2007 or 8, I had a company that, I don't mind saying their name, PSC Archery.
Uh-huh.
I'd asked them about sponsoring our show because I was sponsored by High Country back then. And High Country was a great payer. They paid for their commercials. They really did us good. And so the reps with PSC back then were selling Scrape Juice. Some of them were. And they said, hey, we need you representing PSC. So I went over to PSC, and then I didn't get my bows. I'm like, you know what? And I kept working with them and waiting on them, and I never got my bows. And all bow companies go through this, production issues, any kind of thing. I mean, Obsession's experienced it. So I didn't get my bows, so it just made me really upset at the time.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm going to make my own bow. I said, I'll just go make a bow. I mean, I've shot indoor archery and field and 3D. I said, I'm going to make my own bow. So I hooked up with a guy named Dennis Wilson. Now, Dennis Wilson is actually, and people may not know this guy, but he's actually the patent holder, inventor of the 2-track cam system.
Yeah, okay.
And he's kind of behind the scenes guy. Nobody doesn't really know who he is, but at one time, 14 companies were using the 2-track cam system. So I shot that cam system. I fell in love with the way it shot. So I decided that's the cam for the bow that I'm going to make.
Okay.
So just like Matthew, come out with McPherson Archery before he had Matthews, Matt McPherson.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had to learn the industry and figure out, okay, well, how do I get into making this? It's in any job you do. You've got to understand the industry.
Yep.
Since I'd been in sales, been in competition, been in management, and was successful in other areas, I said, and even with marketing, with TV, I said, well, the only thing I don't know anything about is manufacturing. So I went to work on that, and I hired a programmer, and I come up with my idea of the bow, made it, and I shot it locally, won some events up in Atlanta, some 3D shoots in Griffin, Georgia. People are like, what are you shooting? I said, an obsession, a bow I make. He said, oh, really? So you make that? And I said, yep, it's the only one of its kind. So I'm like winning first place with it on the indoor shoot and beating out the Hoyts, the Matthews, and all the big name bows. And people shot it, and they said, man, that bow shoots really good. So what happened there was I was making the bow just out of spite against PSC at the time. I said, I'm going to just make my own bow.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot my own bow. I could care less if I even sell one. I'm going to just shoot my own bow. Heck with trying to get a sponsor for it. And I had sponsors for everything else, Glock Handgun Company, and a lot of really good sponsors. But the bow industry just seemed to be hard to get what I wanted financially, so I did my own bow and promoted my own products and had sponsors. So just make a step forward there. I made some of them and started selling them because people were asking about them. Next thing you know, it was a real life company. We had shipped about 1,000 bows after the second year. So I was like, okay, this is a real bow company now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to learn how to compete with Matthews, Bowtech, and everyone else. And so at that time, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was in a bad hunting accident.
Yes.
About this time. I had a buckle break on a tree stand, and I fell 25 foot and had to be life flighted. I was in a wheelchair for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife said, well, TV's not going to work out. You can't walk, and you're not going to be able to keep up with the shows, because we were airing 52 shows a year. We weren't just doing the third and fourth quarter with Southern Woods and Water TV on the Pursuit. We were 52 shows a year. So we focused on the bow company. So guys, what I looked at in the industry, and I'll be quiet in a minute and let you ask some questions, but I'm going to give you the foundation here real quick.
No, you're
good. I looked at Bowtech, I looked at Matthews, I looked at Elite, and I looked at PSC. I said, what did they all are doing? And I said, okay, Elite at the time, they were dead in the hand, no vibration, most shootable bow out there. They were smooth, but at the time, I thought they were dead dog slow. Matthews, great name. Everybody's shooting a Matthews. In my opinion, they were slow, but they had great advertising. They were dominating. PSC had the fastest bow in the industry. Okay, and then you looked at Bowtech. They had one of the fastest bows in the industry. I said, well, my niche in this market, they were all using either like Matthews or Lost Camo. Elite had their camo they were using. It was either their, real tree, mossy oak, or black.
Yeah.
PSC was, I think, mossy oak and black. They weren't a multiple variations of camo on bows. So when I went into the industry, I got it thinking, okay, I'm going to make the smoothest, fastest bow. I'm not looking for the fastest is, 370, but I want to be around a really fast bow, but I want to be able to be competitive against Elite with something that was dead and smooth, but super fast. And so then I said, okay, when you go to a car lot, and I'll go to buy, I love exotic cars, and I like classic cars, but I'm not looking for a black or a white car. I'm looking for a sporty color. So I decided I would offer, they were Stormy Hardwoods camo. That was a big popular one for us. We put every camo option available on our bows.
Wow.
So when a customer, let's say you, and I understand one of you guys are sponsored by Realtree, or you like Realtree and the next guy likes Mossy Oak and the next guy likes Last Leaf or Stormy Hardwoods or whatever camo's out there. That's what draws your attention a lot of times to what you're going to purchase as a bow. Oh, they make that bow in my color.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when we showed up at the shows, we had some of every camo option out there. But I went after one of the top engineers for his speed and smoothness at the time was Kevin Strother.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired him. And but Kevin did not own the patent to the 2-track. So a lot of people think, well, patents and all, the patent holder was actually Dennis Wilson out of Warner Robins, Georgia, who used to work with me at the drugstore. I mean, he and I worked from the same field.
Wow.
This guy was a genius at patents, and he licensed it to 14 different companies. Strother really was a great designer, but he didn't own any cam patents.
Mm-hmm.
Rex Darlington owns most of the cam patents out there, and then this guy Dennis Wilson. So we went with the 2-track, and we got Kevin to help me make it fast and smooth, and that's how we blew the industry up. Because when we got to the shows, these guys walked in our booth, they shot them, and they said, "So this bow's shooting 350 foot a second, and it draws like butter, and it's dead in the hand." And they got to see it and feel it, and that set us on fire. So we won the Editor's Choice Award of Best Bow in the industry 2 out of 3 years. So Obsession was able to topple the bigger companies in Best Bow. So, I mean, and then we wound up, and I'll let you guys ask the question, but we blew up so big that every investor in the industry was trying to buy us. So, Arcus Hunting, which was Bergall Investment Groups, bought me and my wife out, which is it a blessing? It's kind of a blessing, but it's kind of a sad part in our life too, because we loved archery. I still work with the bow company, but there wasn't nothing like owning it yourself and making all the decisions.
Oh, for sure.
So that's kind of where I'll leave it at, and then you guys can, kind of let us know what you want to know, and I'll answer what I can.
Well, one of the things that we want to talk about is you still are designing bows, even though
That's
you
correct.
don't own the company anymore. You're still a designer.
Absolutely.
So that's good that they have kept you on to do that.
When Arcus bought us, we had 5 investment groups make an offer on Obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And they was kind of interesting. They were all at the same dollar figure. So I don't know if these guys talk or what, but we had Plano Synergy, we had Bergall Investment Groups. We went Bergall, who owned Tinks and Dead Downwind and Ramcat. But anyway, we went with those guys because they weren't going to move the company. Mm-hmm. We had Plano Synergy that wanted to move it to Florida. And I said, well, you know what? I want to leave the employees intact and it stay in middle Georgia. Yeah. So we went with Bergall Investments. We were their second purchase. They bought Tinks first, and then they bought I bought Dead Downwind, Tinks, and then Obsession. Then they bought Ramcat, Trophy Taker, Big Game Butter, and some other companies, which I'm still a shareholder of right now. But so they purchased us, and I stayed on with them till they sold it again. And the reason it sold, and a lot of people ask this question, well, why did Obsession sell again? Well, Arcus Hunting was shopping their company to sell again, and the people that were looking at Arcus did not want manufacturing when it came to bows. So they had to sell Obsession. So that's how Martin Outdoors, who owns Martin Archery, bought Obsession, who I still consult for and design for.
Awesome. That's pretty interesting. How all that stuff works with these private equity firms and different things like that. I mean, who would know that? I know that there's buying groups out there. There's buying groups that you can get in, but this, like what he's talking about here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis. This is different than a buying group, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, and I don't mind saying this, just my opinion and, private equity groups that have, where the money may be coming from, where, and they've got multiple companies they invest in. It's a new era of what's going on in the hunting industry. Me personally, I'm not sure it's the best move. If they'll let the companies, like our company, when it's doing what it was doing, and when they bought us, we couldn't fill all of our orders. The demand was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when we got purchased, they made some changes. And, of course, me being the owner, I was like, oh, okay, hold on. This is not a good thing. You're wanting to make me just put this camo on this bow and go with this camo in black, and I can't have all these other camos. Well, yeah, you can for another $100. They can get it. And I said, no, that's not going to be good. Of course, they found out it was not good. I mean, it turned the sales in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't lose money, but it did not do what its projections were.
Yeah.
Because, myself and Angela, we wanted to offer the consumer and the dealer the bow they wanted, of exactly like they wanted it. If they wanted it in, I don't care what color it was, we could have it done, because we had our own in-house color fusion department, which is a process not all bow companies do. But it is a dye sublimation that's embedded in the powder coat, and it doesn't stretch, it doesn't fade, and it don't wear off. I mean, it didn't matter what color it was. I could put 10 different colors in one oven and bake them on there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is great. Hey, so another thing we do on our podcast here is our salute to valor. So tonight our salute to valor is going to go out to this poor guy that I'm going to butcher his last name, but I'm going to give it a shot. It's Eric Croft from Sherman, Texas. He was in the Navy from 99 to 2019 as a hospital corpsman, from 99 to 07, and as a Navy SEAL from 07 to 2019. He had 2 combat deployments to Afghanistan, a couple non-combat deployments to Cuba and Panama, and non-deployments to Kuwait and Spain. His personal awards was the Navy Accommodation Medal ×2, Navy Achievement Medal ×4, Combat Action Ribbon ×2, a Good Conduct Medal 5 times, Expert Rifle Marksmanship Medal, Expert Pistol Marksmanship Medal. He was awarded a Joint Meritorious Unit Citation, a Navy Unit Citation, a Meritorious Unit Citation ×3, Army Valorous Unit Award, and he, like I said, he was discharged in June of 2019. So, Eric, we really appreciate your service. It looks like you had a pretty lengthy one there, and obviously being a SEAL, I know you was more than likely had more deployments than that, but I'm sure you have a lot of redacted information in your jacket there, sir. So we appreciate your service and everything you did to support our country and defend our freedoms.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
yes,
God bless you, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Yeah, we get these salute to valors from it's Cherry Bend Pheasant Farms. They're out of Ohio, and Kate Runk is the one that supplies us with all these, and they do amazing stuff with veterans. They take them on hunts, and they bring them into the farm, and they give them a place to stay, and they feed them, and they do all this stuff and take them on hunts, man. I mean, it's awesome. So all these people they've actually personally connected with. So I think it's an amazing thing, and we need to lift them up every day we can, every opportunity we can. So that's why we make it a point to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, back when we did our hunting show, the Air Force was one of our sponsors, believe it or not, and
Nice.
We used to take a lot of the airmen out and video them on hunts, and me and Angela won what they call American Spirit Award, which they only give away one a year. and it was a pretty big honor, and we got to spend a lot of time with servicemen.
That's
and
awesome.
listen to their stories, and we took them out often throughout the year. We did the Wonder Warriors projects on our TV show back then. So yeah, God bless you, and definitely thank you for your service. And we're a big supporter and always have been of the uh, armed forces and servicemen and first responders. Even with Obsession today, and even with the Scrape Views Company that myself and Angela Holmes, we offered those people special discounts when they buy from our company.
That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Because we believe in what they do.
Yep.
And keep talking. You're gonna sell me on a new bow here.
There you go.
I think you already sold me
Hey, but
on
no-
one.
That's what
I want to get one. I just haven't broke down. I hold on to bows for too long. I think I still got my old bow tech that I shoot.
Well, the 2024 stuff, like I said, I'm a consultant and a designer more than anything. And I work with them a little bit on operations, but, if all goes well, the 2024 stuff's it's pretty amazing. We've got a new gear drive system. Nobody's heard about this till you guys are actually the first to hear about it.
Oh,
We're
nice.
working on a micro adjustment cam system where you can
Oh, wow.
adjust the cam by a 1/16 of an inch in draw length instead of a full half inch. We got a new riser design.
Wow.
We got several new models for 2024. Are we going to be launching early like everybody else is? At this point, probably no. We've got some exciting news that will be happening that they are working on, and I've got my fingers crossed and just praying everything goes through, because there's so many rumors out there you don't know what to believe. But
Yeah.
but if everything happens as planned, I think we're a little late start on the 2024 of getting it released, but what is that old saying? Good things come to those who wait. So
That's
we got
right.
some pretty
That's right.
exciting stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So, real quick, talking about that Southern Woods and Water show. How long did that run? And I know how the reason you talked about where you got injured and stuff, and that's kind of how that show ended there for you guys. How long did that run?
It started in 2005. We were I think the third show to sign up on the Pursuit channel. We were already airing on Comcast Sports South and Dish Network. Okay, and then the Pursuit channel was on DirecTV. So when they started that in 2005, we bought airtime then, and we ran it till, I want to say, 2013, because I was actually filming shows out of a wheelchair in 2012, and I was bound and determined to still make a show. And there's footage back then where I was out hog hunting in a wheelchair and in a golf cart, and on all kind of things. But yeah, it was a pretty bad deal. When I failed and they had to life flight me, it was compound brakes. And my legs never started growing back till I got hurt in November of 2011, and it was 2012 in July after they did bone grafts,
Yep.
with multiple surgeries, before my legs started actually growing back.
Yeah. So you had
they were crushed that bad.
You had two broken legs and a fractured
And back.
and a fractured back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that
Yeah,
story.
and back then they didn't have lifelines. Honestly, they didn't advertise lifelines. You never heard anybody talk about a lifeline. Not saying they weren't there.
Yeah.
But I used a safety belt like everybody else did, climb up a tree, undo it, hook into my lock-on. But that day when I unhooked it, I had a camera on my back. My wife was up in the other stand, the lock-on Millennium, and I stepped out of there and got on the stick ladder, and that top buckle broke. And I'd put it up an extra 5 foot on that hunt. So they normally come in 20-foot sticks. Well, I put 25 up that day to hunt that. And it was a new buckle. There wasn't no old one. It was made of pot metal.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing snapped, and down I went.
Man.
And when I did come to, I could see my heels that were facing me.
Oh,
I knew I was hurt bad.
Oh my.
And my wife was, and you won't believe this, but that video camera that was a big camera back then, it wasn't them little ones you film with now.
Yeah, it was
Canon XL1, or I think is what it was, and but it was a pretty good sized camera. Well, I took and or it might have been one of the Sonys. I can't. It was a big camera. It wasn't the little ones. And I remember I videoed the whole 911 call and my wife setting up the tree. And I was about to bleed to death because when they found me, they said, "Hey, this guy is not going to make it." I heard him get on the radio. He's got to be life flighted. He's lost a lot of blood. So it scared me to death.
Wow.
So it was pretty, I can't stress enough. Click in and don't come unclick till you get to the top. You know what scares me, guys, is, a lot of the harnesses out there are made overseas.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I'm not saying they're bad. That's not what I'm saying. But what broke on me was made overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make so many of them, and who knows what their quality control's like.
Yeah, their QA, their QA, QC is not probably
I called,
what
and
it should be.
I know this isn't part of the call, but I called the TMA, Tree Stand Manufacturing, and I asked the guy at the time, and whether it's a true statement or not, I said, "How many work for your company that certify these tree stands?" I wanted to know why that buckle break, because it had a TMA certification on it. And he said, "Well, it's just me." I said, "So you test every stand that comes through there?" And the guy got kind of short with me and hung up on me, but it was just I don't know. I wasn't real at the time. I mean, that's the answer he gave me. But I'm sure they're a legit outfit and they do it. But I did my own research just trying to figure out how in the world did they test all these items. Why did this buckle break?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's got the TMA certification on it. Why did it snap?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't weigh 300 pounds, trust me. It's tested under 300 pounds.
Yeah, that's what they state anyways.
Yeah, so, but I'm sure all that stuff's changed and gotten better.
Well, we hope so.
I still hunt out the same stand that broke with me.
Yeah, that's what I was
really
going to say.
Honestly.
You still hunting out of a tree stand and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, I hunt out of lock-ons.
Yeah.
I hunt out of climbers. I hunt out of ladders, and I hunt off the ground. I get on up there like everybody else does. Matter of fact, every morning I can.
I hear you. I know that when we called and we were talking about, we just introduced each other over the phone there, and you were just getting out of the woods. We were texting back and forth, and you were like, yeah, you call me that afternoon. He was like, I'm going to be in the woods. And he's like, I'm in the woods pretty much every day.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not, I'm one of those guys that I shoot, what I design, I shoot with, and, and I'm an end user. So when I shoot competition archery, I know quite a bit about bows and the mechanics of them, how they work. So I am a guy that shoots a bow, so I live with them pretty hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely some exciting stuff coming out for you guys in 2024.
Absolutely.
That's going to be interesting to see when it all drops out. And
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd be done released it October 1 with the rest of everybody. But, I'm not on the financial side of what the guys do and what they're working with companies. But, everybody's got their own time. And like I said, when me and Angela used to own the company, we had our way of doing it. And we were, I felt like we did a pretty good job with it. That's the downside of not owning it anymore. As far as the owner, I am the founder and the consultant and designer and work with operations, but we don't, on the financial side of it, I don't foot the bill. So,
sure.
And they've got their, certain people in place to make those kind of decisions on when it gets launched.
Well, I mean, the history behind your company and everything that I've read, and I've done my research on obsession bows. I have never shot an obsession bow. I hate to say, but I have shot Struthers, and but all the history and stuff that I've done since you all, since the creation of the business, you all have been in the eyes of all the archers and in the talking points of everything, archery talk forums and different things like that. I've seen tons and tons of threads of them talking about you guys all the way back into the early 2000s. So,
Yeah, well, and when we were, it was kind of crazy. We had Kevin Strother working for us, and our booth would be side of Strother Archery at the trade shows. And I'm like, okay, so Strother works for you, but there's Strother Archery. And I kept telling the guys that run Strother, I said, hey, we would like to buy Strother Archery since Strother works for us. and and they were a great company. I mean, they
Yeah.
did well.
Yeah.
And of course, we bought it, and then Arcus bought us right afterwards. And then they decided, well, we're going to not have Strother as a company, and it just broke my heart because I wanted to have Obsession as one brand and Strother as another. And then when those heydays were over, 5-6 years later, and Martin Outdoors bought us. Keep in mind, Martin is a 75-year-old company.
Yeah.
They've been around forever. Eva and Gail Martin that started Martin Archery. I mean, that company's one of the oldest companies out there outside of Bear.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah.
And and they've had its ups and downs. They had a factory fire, the place burnt down up there, and
Yeah.
they've had their struggles, with investment groups. So, all bow companies, and there's probably most of them out there have had their struggles. They'd be on top doing well, and then something happened,
Mhm.
then they hurt for a year or two, and then they're back up again. So there's a lot of changes goes on in this industry.
Boy, I tell you, there's
With
been
it doesn't matter who it is. It's broadheads,
yeah.
bows, arrow. I probably less than arrow company side as anything, but all these different broadhead companies, they get bought and sold.
Yeah.
A lot of that goes on.
Yeah, it's the outdoor industry is good for that. I mean, you
Yeah.
see a lot of products come and go. I mean, you're fortunate if you can last in the outdoor industry 3 to 5 years, in my opinion.
I've seen a lot of bow companies come and go even since we've been in business.
Oh yeah.
I've watched some really good bows, and then they would sell to an investment group or do something that wasn't the best decision in the world, and next thing you know, they'd last another year or two maybe, and then boom, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Parker, that was one that we haven't
Yeah,
mentioned.
Parker, they were around for a long time.
They were around for a
Yeah,
long time.
I used to shoot Parker for a long time.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
got
Parker was there for a long time.
now
Then
wasn't
you had Maximum Archery, they were out there and with Andy, and then you had New Breed Archery, Kyle, Noel.
yeah, New Breed.
Yeah, I remember New Breed out there, and then you had of course, Matt McPherson had McPherson Archery, I think. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure he started McPherson Archery, and then Matthews evolved there.
Yeah, I think you're
Correct,
correct on that. We've talked about
we
that.
looked that up one time on another podcast there. We did.
Yeah, we did.
And then,
That's how it came.
and then PSC had that. What was that other brand bow they had? Golly, it was back in the 90s. They had one, and then they had it, and then it's gone. Then there was Browning Archery.
I don't know about PSC. I'm thinking, wasn't Darton part of Martin Archery?
No,
No.
Darton and Martin Archery worked together at one time on some projects.
Yeah, I knew they had some kind of collaboration there together a while back.
Well, Rex Darlington, I will say this: he is the godfather of patents. Every bow company out there uses. I'm 99.9% sure they use a patent that he had.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that, but I worked closely with Rex Darlington on some projects. But Rex was the godfather of patents because he sued multiple bow companies out there and won lawsuits because he owned the patent.
Man, is he still alive today?
Yeah, he sure is. He's in his 80s. He sold Darton Archery to Black Eagle Arrow, Randy Kitts.
Man.
So Randy Kitts owns Darton Archery and Black Eagle Arrows. Everybody laughs at the way I say arrows, but anyway, I'm from the South.
Yeah.
So anyway, Black Eagle Arrows, Randy Kitts wound up buying Darton Archery.
Huh. Yeah, I have an old Darton right here behind me on our bow rack. It's crazy. That thing's been in our family for over 60-some years.
Well, if you shoot a dart and bow, they're one of the fastest bows out there.
Yeah, well, this one ain't.
Yeah,
Well,
this one has no
most of them-
cams.
Most of the dartings are extremely fast, and they just never have just took hold. Now, with Randy having it, I think it's probably doing much better.
Yeah, this one looks like it's got about maybe a 5-pound let off.
Definitely.
Hey, I remember those days when I used to grab a bow, and I thought when they come out with 65% let off, I thought that
man.
was.
I'm telling you.
I did too, man. I thought, oh my God, I can hold this bow back forever. And then they come out with like 80%, and I was like, holy moly.
And 90%.
Yep.
Man.
There's been a lot of evolution in the archery industry over the years, that's for sure.
That's the reason I named the bow Evolution. That's what we won Editor's Choice Award was with Evolution.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yep. So that bow in 2014 smoked Matthews and all of them in the Outdoor Life where they, and I don't know if people realize this, but Outdoor Life, they got dealers in Kentucky that they bring people into some big store in Kentucky, and they bring the engineers in there and they take every bow. And these engineers and dealers shoot them all and decide which ones win bow of the year. And we won it 2 out of 3 years.
Man.
They had the Matthews shooting side of us. They had the Elite, the Bowtech, all of them. But that's one thing, if I don't do anything else in my life, besides that Air Force American Spirit Award that me and Angela won, which was huge for us with our TV show. But being able to say at one time, we were voted by Bowhunter Planet and voted by Outdoor Life as having the best bow 2 out of 3 years. It blew us away when they announced that. They said, well, hey, you just beat out every bow in the industry and with our engineers and dealers. And, we're proud of that. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that was a really great feeling because we didn't buy that ad. There wasn't an ad. We didn't spend a dime with Outdoor Life. We didn't spend anything to make those engineers. We weren't even advertising with them.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that was pretty strong to know that we had the fastest, deadest, best shooting bow that they picked up in that place.
Yeah, you've definitely sold my production manager here. He wrote on our little board that we write on, and he shows me, and I'm like, what's it say? He's like, this is my next bow when I'm ready.
There you go. Well, you wouldn't need to wait and look at 2024. You'll be like looking at that and saying, okay, they really got something this year. So I'm hoping we're back out there like we used to be. I won't say my hands have been tied, but we haven't been able to do what we've needed to do.
Yeah.
But I think this year, if all goes well and all we're doing is praying about it and hoping it happens with some things we got going on, we should be killing it, I hope.
Hey, Dennis, this is Dave. Another thing that we do every episode, you talked about praying there, is a verse of the day.
We let the production manager talk every now and then.
Just occasionally, it seems like.
just a little
Dennis,
bit.
they don't like me talking. I don't understand.
He's got a radio voice. He really does.
Oh, jeez. Do
Yeah.
I?
You know what they say about them guys? A voice for radio only.
He's got the voice for radio, not the face for TV.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Man. That sucks. First time I've ever heard that. Well, okay, that's not a compliment anymore. Thanks, Dennis. Anyway.
Right, voice for radio, but no face for TV.
Oh, dang. Well, all right. Sorry, everybody on Facebook.
I'm not
I
the only one
apologize.
giving it to him.
All right, so our verse of the day is, of course, out of the Passion Translation, and I'm going to read from Proverbs 4:25 through 26. And so 25 says, set your gaze on the path before you. With fixed purpose, look straight ahead and ignore life's distractions. I don't know. I think that's just amazing. The things that you can accomplish when you have a relationship with the Lord and you walk upright. You don't try to lie to people, swindle people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
I like the people that we talk to
Yep.
that have relationships with their creator and that do these amazing things. Man, we've talked to some amazing people on this podcast.
We have, yeah.
And it's
Yes,
like,
we have.
and it's like, man, the things that you can accomplish by not trying to cheat your way to the top.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and not hurting people along the way.
And the world's way of making it to the top is sinister.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can do that for a while.
But you can, but it'll eventually come back and get you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with you. I mean, I think, throughout life, me and my wife always have felt this way, is be honest with people.
Yeah.
And, like, even with our vendors and people we dealt with, they got to pay their people like we got to pay our people. When me and Angela owned Obsession, we knew they had to pay their payrolls. We paid our vendors early or either on time. And, we always tried to look out, and, we go to church like we're supposed to, but we actually, we do try to know we're all sinners. Every day we do things, that probably are not perfect in life, but we try to walk the walk and be the right person and care. And we always think about things before we do it because, we love God, and, we believe in God, and we believe that, that everybody is good. And I know there's a lot of bad people in the world, but we try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and try to help people that are going in the wrong direction. And, you can't help everybody, but you at least try to influence them
Yes.
to be better.
Yeah,
And I just think it's the right thing to do is just try to work with people and make people head in the right direction. You can't do it. You can't make everybody, but at least you try.
yeah, and that's what you and all the other ones out there doing what you're doing, and what we're doing is, we're leading them to do that. We're being the example.
Yes.
And I think that,
and that's the thing. That's the thing. Like when you were talking about the stuff that you're doing with the veterans, that's being a doer and not just a talker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, the kind of things that you're talking about, that's living it. And regardless of the mistakes, I mean, the Bible says a righteous man will fall down 7 times, but the thing that makes him righteous is he keeps getting back up.
That's exactly right.
And it's like, man, do we mess up every day? Absolutely, we mess up every day. But you know what? We're going for it.
Yep. You're walking with God, you're bound to mess up.
Yeah, that's right. If you're not messing up, you're not trying.
If you're not messing up, you're not doing something right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the difference in winners in life and losers is, if you make mistakes, don't dwell on them. You got to pick it up and, okay, what I do today wrong, let's don't do that tomorrow,
Yeah, definitely. Make every day better than what it was the day before.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've went over about everything, Dennis. We really appreciate you coming on this evening. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I'd like to give a shout out to Jackson. I don't know if he's,
I'm sure he's
Jackson,
listening. Yep.
He was at the ATA show shooting our bows. He's a wonderful, wonderful kid. Videoing his hunts. I mean, he's just an awesome guy.
Yeah.
But and you know what bothers me in being in this business worse than anything is I can't answer everybody's message. I miss some on Facebook, but I'm constantly trying to reply to people. Yeah. People will message me on the weekend, hey, I need this for my bow. I got this problem. I answer them.
Yes. And that's...
Am I going to miss some? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's not many people that when they're off that cares enough about the product they have out on the market to answer questions to the average guy. Don't matter who it is, myself or my wife, whether it's with Scrape Juice Hunting Products, her company, or Obsession Bows, we are answering our customers. We'll be riding down the road. We might be going out to dinner.
Yeah.
And somebody will call or text or message me or her. She'll look at the stuff on my page, and we'll answer them.
Yeah, we do too.
That's the way we did that our whole life.
Yeah, and that's what people are looking for. People are looking for that company that cares, that they can reach the person that actually is involved. You know what I mean?
And it truly bothers me if somebody has a problem with something, whether it's with, even though with the company that's down in Georgia and I've moved to Kentucky, it bothers me if somebody says, hey, I wasn't able to get this, or I didn't get what I wanted. And then I'm like, I'm right on it the next day. Am I going to miss something? Yes. Am I going to miss a message here? Yes. But for anybody that's listening on this call, I think me and Angela, we both do care about the end user. We really do.
Yeah. Awesome. Yep. Well, we can see it in the business for sure. I mean, we can see it in your all's the way that you carry yourself and things like that through the research and stuff that I've done. So, again, it's been a pleasure. You know, you're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to bows and the outdoor industry itself. Just you being in all the aspects of that, and again, we appreciate you coming on and for your time.
Man, it was great talking to you guys, and so yeah, I didn't forget about it, but I'm getting close to that age where I have to talk to an insurance guy about my health insurance going forward. so he's sitting in there somewhere waiting. But hey, guys, I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
And I look forward to working with y'all and talking to you guys in the future. If there's anything you need, let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. You have a great evening.
You'll have a wonderful day. Or night. All right. Bye.
Yeah, you too.
All right, guys. Be sure to check them out, ObsessionRefueled.com. ObsessionBowsRefueled.com. I believe that's what it is. We've got that link tagged in our Facebook Live, so you can visit it right through there. And be sure to check us out on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're on about 18 other different networks. Wherever you get your podcast, we're there. So, Mr. Dennis Lewis was an amazing guest, man. That was a great episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. You all have a good evening. Do you want durable 100% carbon fiber arrows? Warhead Arrow Company. Warhead Arrow Company is 100% carbon fiber constructed hunting arrows with bone-shattering penetration. Durable, tough, yet reliable when it comes to the moment of truth. Their target arrows are world-class in accuracy and precision, an arrow that target archers can depend on to reach the top of their game. Warhead Arrow Company. Check them out today at warheadarrowco.com. That's Warhead Arrow Company. warheadarrowco.com.